The Hammer of Justice is a spell only for paladins that stuns one target for 6 seconds, and it's the longest stun available to free-to-play players. But when playing BGs or Arena, I often saw misuses of that spell. It's a really powerful thing, and people often misuse it, cast it without thinking when to use it, when it's necessary, and when they really need it, it's on cooldown and can't be used. So the general rule every paladin needs to know is that you should use Hammer of Justice when your opponent is at low health, because then you can finish them off while they're stunned, and even if they trinket it, they might lose a few, maybe 1, maybe 2 seconds of precious time when they have low health, and you can nuke them. The best uses of Hodge are in certain situations other. One of the general rules of Arena is you want your partner to CC the target you're fighting in order, and if the enemy pops their trinket from your partner's CC, then you want to use the Hammer of Justice. Or in a situation when you want to chain CC a target, you just have to talk with your teammates to create a situation that not to allow a situation when you cast 2 CCs at the same time. And in other ways you want to use it when it's most valuable, and I will talk about it in a second. In a battleground, for example a Warsong Gulch, you want to use it when chasing enemy flag carrier and your team is nearby. You want to give your team a couple of seconds. Even if the EFC trinkets it, he'll get slowed down a little bit, and maybe that's the time your team needs to concussive shot him or charge him to slow him even more. When you're sieging EFC in the flag room, you want to hammer their healer, or if your flag carrier is about to die, you might want to Hammer of Justice the enemy flag carrier so they won't cap the flag, or just to stop them on their way to cap the flags, so you can re-grab it. And if you're the team defending your flag carrier, you have to stun the most dangerous target, for example an enchanted rogue or a hunter, or a healer if the team has a healer, so your team can continue and kill all your enemies in the flag room. And in 1v1 situations like duels or 1v1s in Arena or BG, you have to use your Hammer of Justice depending on the class or race of the enemy. If the enemy is a Worgen, you want to save your Hammer of Justice when they're about to use Dark Flight, so shortly after they use Dark Flight you pop Hammer of Justice. If the enemy is a rogue, you want to use Hammer of Justice when they pop Evasion, because Evasion gives 100% dodge chance, but rogues cannot dodge your attacks when they're stunned, so you can keep attacking them while they're stunned, and rogues often will pop Evasion when they're at low health, so you can, even if they trinket it, even if they trinket the stun, you can get 1 or maybe 2 seconds of the nuke, and that might be it to finish off the rogue in a duel. When you're fighting a priest, you have to watch out for their debuff, Weakened Soul. When it's about to end and they can cast Power Word Shield again, you want to stun them in order to avoid them rebubbling, and maybe you can kill them in that time. If you're fighting with a Warlock, you want to stun them while they are casting Fear, maybe around halfway of the cast bar, so they waste around a second. If you're fighting with a druid and you want to nuke the druid, you want to find a moment when he's not in a bird form, for example a cat form or a human form, and then you stun them so they don't take mitigated damage from increased armor. And when you're fighting with a warrior, you want to, it's a bit tricky, you want to use the Hodge while they're charging at you, and if you time it correctly, they might stop a few yards away from the charge and they won't be able to hit you. Or if you're at low health, you want to stun them before you get into the execute range of your health and heal up, because if you let them go to the execute range, even if you're healing, you won't be able to survive that, because execute deals horrible damage and you'll die. When you're fighting with a mage, you want to wait until they blink, and then you want to catch up with them and cast Hammer of Justice, because they can just blink through it like a trinket does, and you will waste a cooldown. And the most tricky part is when you're fighting with a hunter, you want to wait until you're close to them, and then they will jump up, because they want to disengage away from you, and if they jump up before disengage, they get extra few yards of range, but that's what gives them away, jumping. So when they jump up, you want to stun them, and it will cancel the disengage leap effect. They will still get the speed buff, but they won't leap away from you, so you'll cancel their leap away, so you'll keep being next to them. And you can, of course, Hammer of Justice when your enemy pops a speed increases buff, such as Swiftness Potion or Dash. And yeah, I think that's all. I hope you're gonna use your Hammer of Justice well now, and we'll see less of Artus David paladins that fly around hodging everyone without good purpose. Bye!